Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to share how we raise bottle baby lambs. To be honest, we do not have a ton of experience in this area of shepherding, and we really don't want a lot of experience in this area. I want ewes who are good mothers, and so bottle babies are quite rare on our homestead. They're typically due to some kind of accident or freaky circumstance. Nevertheless, they do happen, and so today I'm going to share with you how we raise them. This year we have 2 bottle babies because of rather different circumstances, and so I will share how these lambs became bottle babies, and then I'll tell you how we are raising them to give them the best chance at life. So first, let's go back to February when Giselle, our dairy cross, had the first lambs of the season. Alright. Surprise.
Okay, so that one was stuck
The brown.
between the two dressers
Okay.
against the wall. So I had to lift and it was balling its nose out. So I had to lift the dresser up to get it out between the two of them.
Oh, cool. Okay.
This one was standing with her outside.
Okay. That's a long way for it to wander.
Well, no, the placenta's right back over in the corner.
Oh, okay.
She had it in there.
Okay.
She was wedged down on her belly.
Oh,
She'd
gosh.
gotten between the two. Good boy, Nat. Seriously, chickens, whatever animals did this, I really have a problem with.
That's why we're not doing free range ever again.
Yes.
Okay, so this is part of our barn that we've just used for storage. And you can see the placenta. And Kyle said he found the one lamb over here. So that's not cool. You can see she's not attending to that lamb. And she's headbutting it. So I'm gonna get her up on the stanchion and see if I can get her to nurse and let her nurse. And then hopefully she'll accept her. Because I really don't want a bottle baby right now. Okay, so this is the one she's accepted. And this is one she's rejected. And you gotta be really attentive to subtleties. You notice he's filled out slightly because he's eaten. He's quiet. He's curious. She's kind of desperate. Sorry, the weather's making me all snotty. See how his belly is just slightly poofed out more than hers? And her back legs are kind of hunched and her tail's down. So they're both looking for their mama. But, like, he knows who his mama is. She doesn't. Like, she's sucking on everything looking for a mama. So we got to get colostrum in her and try to get stubborn McDuffie over there to accept her. And the thing is, I thought I had this closed. Oh boy. They can slip through really small holes. All right, girl, let's try to get you to nurse. At this point, the lamb was cold and acting hungry and really not even interested in nursing, which was giving me some concern. So after trying for several minutes to get her to nurse on her own, I actually just milked out some colostrum from the ewe and then held it in my hand, dipped my finger in it, and stuck my finger in the lamb's mouth, and then she started to suck. So usually when lambs are first born, they instantly start looking for their mother's udder. They start looking for colostrum, and this lamb wasn't even showing interest in that when I was putting her right under the udder, so I needed to intervene and get the colostrum in her. Otherwise, little lambs like this can actually die rather quickly if they don't get their bellies warm. Oh, good girl. Mama's teeth is actually bigger than my finger. Almost. There you go. I did get the lamb to nurse a little bit, but at this point, neither the lamb nor the ewe were acting normal for a brand newly delivered pair. The ewe was not nickering to her. The lamb wasn't responding when she was close to her mother. She was mainly just looking for food and wasn't really latching on to the mom. And the other thing was the ewe was not really encouraging her or holding still so that she could nurse. Usually ewes will nicker and encourage the lambs, and Giselle was just acting like the lamb was a chicken or some other inconvenience. She didn't like having her around. I mean, it was really clear that they had never bonded, and I was getting concerned that unless I was supervising them and showing the lamb where to nurse, showing just, keeping Giselle from hurting her, that there was going to either be another incident of the lamb getting lost and then chilling, or Giselle might actually hurt the lamb, which really sucked because she's a very pretty ewe lamb from one of my best milkers.
Take care of 2 this year.
Alright, so I tried putting her in the stanchion, and that didn't go well. Giselle just kept kicking her off. So what I've done is, you can see here, she's still got some of the amniotic fluid goop on her. So I took that and rubbed it all over Giselle's nose. And then I'm moving them from a larger jug into a smaller jug, so they have to be in close proximity to hopefully psych her into thinking that she should take the lamb she gave birth to. So anyway, everyone wants to see what our sheep barn lambing setup looks like. It's an old tractor shed we converted, and it's also our storage unit from various relatives offloading stuff to us that we haven't gone through yet. So anyway, welcome to our barn. Oh, for Pete's sakes. At this point, Giselle started getting actually violent with the lamb, and I was afraid she was going to actually cause some damage to her. So I took her out and decided to bring her up to the house, and at the very least just get some colostrum into her, and started asking shepherding friends, so how do you get a ewe to take her lamb back? And the answers varied from, well, you don't, to just tie her up every single day and force her to feed her 3 times a day, or get a dog that she's not used to and scare the bejeebies out of her. That might trick her into taking the lamb back. So we were all set to try some of these methods, but then we had a farm emergency and had to put down another ewe who had given birth and had a prolapsed udder. You can see our February farm update for more information on the situation, and since we already had another bottle baby, we just decided to raise them both together. That way they wouldn't get lonely, and not go through the hassle of trying to reintroduce the ewe lamb to her mother, because at this point it seemed very unlikely that Giselle would take the lamb back. And yes, before anyone comments, I know you're supposed to use a livestock bottle. This is not a livestock bottle. This is actually an old bottle left over from when Nat was using bottles. I could not find my livestock bottle when I shot this clip. We did find it a little bit later, but at this point I was just trying to focus on getting colostrum into the ewe lamb, and then we would find the proper equipment later. So you can see she can latch, but she's having a hard time latching onto it. Livestock bottles have longer nipples, and it's easier for the animals to latch onto it and get a good suction. When the lambs are super little, it's really helpful to stick diapers on them. That way they don't have to be contained. They can move around. You can enjoy them without worrying about them leaving little presents for you to clean up when you're not looking. So you take the Velcro-y bits So here I'm going to show you how to put a diaper on a lamb.
I put it under her belly. Pull it and make sure this part goes around that joint there so they can move. And then you want to cinch this as absolutely tight as you possibly can.
One recommended to cut holes in the bottoms of the diaper for the tails, which I will probably do next time.
So you want to have this one come up a bit so you have a little bit of the spot for the Velcro to work. And you want it so tight because they will wiggle out of it and it won't hurt them. So, and then this is a girl, so all her accoutrements are right here. And then with the boy, who is so much bigger, his anatomy is actually right under the umbilicus. So you've got to make sure that's covered or you'll still have puddles. So that is how we diaper a sheep.
Good job. Are you a good shepherd, Nat? I mentioned this in my February recap video, but I'll mention it again here. If you are using colostrum replacer or milk replacer that it's freeze-dried that you buy at a feed store, it is really, really smart. I know it sounds kind of weird and disgusting, but it's really smart to take a raw egg yolk, beat it up, and add it to the milk replacer. Raw egg yolk is really nutrient dense and has all the essential vitamins and minerals necessary for life. It can bypass the digestive system, so the animal can just instantly absorb those nutrients. It really helps them not get diarrhea from the milk replacer, which is pretty common. So we got colostrum from Giselle for the female lamb, but then when the ram lamb was born, we just didn't have enough colostrum for everyone. So I did use colostrum replacer from the feed store and I added egg yolks to that, and we never had any digestive distress while we were adding egg yolks to it. I accidentally skipped a bottle and didn't put egg yolks in it, and instant diarrhea. So back the egg yolks came, and then I remembered I had about a gallon or two of cow colostrum, and everyone, including Nat, as you can see here, really liked the cow colostrum. So for the sheep, I did still add some egg yolks to the cow colostrum because if you read my book, you know that sheep milk has different fat shapes and profiles than cow milk. So I wanted to make sure the lambs didn't have any issues with the cow colostrum.
Milk.
Oh, do they need milk? Where's their bottles? Where's their bottles? Did he just shove them back in?
Put them back in. Yes,
Good job, Nat. Get back in there.
Be gentle. Be gentle.
Colostrum in sheep last anywhere from 10 to 14 days, and during that time the lambs nurse a lot. So in the initial 2 weeks, we kept Wendell, the ram lamb, and Daisy, the ewe lamb, in our bedroom in a tote and replaced the wood shavings every day. Otherwise you will smell like a barn, and your room will smell like a barn, and everything will smell like a barn. But after a few days, the lambs figured out how to jump out of the tote, and so we needed to find a different setup. And since they didn't need fed quite as often, we moved them into a different location in the house, and I was glad to have my room back.
Why do you have laryngitis?
When they're about under a month old, the lamb's loyalty will be to whoever feeds them. Kyle had a long weekend, so he was actually doing more of the feedings than I was, and so the two lambs became his constant shadows. I thought it was absolutely adorable. He got a little irked with it because they embodied the meaning of the idiom underfoot, and he got tired of it real fast.
Hi. Oh, you two. Hi. They didn't talk about the horses going between the knight's legs.
Giselle is not a purebred dairy sheep. She's a cross between Gulf Coast Native, Awasi, East Frisian, and Icelandic. So we knew she had plenty of milk for 2 babies, but probably not 3 unless we did a lot of feed supplementation, which we just really didn't want to do. So we decided we'll give Daisy the sheep milk and Wendell will get cow milk with egg yolks added. I do want to try and use Daisy for breeding and a dairy sheep down the road, so I want her to have the most nutrient-dense food for health success down the road. Wendell is going to be a wether, so he can have subpar nutrition. He's still getting nourished well, just Daisy gets the gold. We always recommend wethering bottle baby male farm animals because once they reach breeding maturity, they will see their family as competition for breeding rights. This can lead to accidents and injury when they start competing with you with no warning during rut season. It's not a guarantee, and folks have told me about delightful rams who were once bottle babies, but the odds are more towards aggression, and I just don't need one more thing to worry about, so snippity-doo-dah for Wendell.
Hi.
Optimistically brought Daisy down to the barn with me when I milked just to see if I could get Giselle to take her back, but absolutely no such luck. I don't think it was a waste of time though, because with my ewe lambs, I always try to have them on the stanchion with their mamas because that jumpstarts their stanchion training and makes them easier to train to the stanchion for milking down the road when they're adults. I also brought the lambs down with me during milking so they could start to get to know the other members of the flock and learn to speak sheep, as it were. They'll still be somewhat identifying as humans or dogs or something other than sheep until we put them in with the sheep full time, but it's still good to get them used to the other sheep so it's not quite a huge shock once they leave the house permanently and go to the sheep paddock full time to be official 4-legged members of the farm, not 2. You can see here the lambs are comfortable with the dogs and are following that around. They really do not know what species they are at this point. So once again, this is why you want to expose bottle babies to other sheep so they don't go into shock when all of a sudden they aren't hanging out with omnivores or carnivores and are just with the herbivores. They love you. And me. And anything that might feed them. Once I start separating the other lambs from their mamas at night for milking, I put Wendell and Daisy in the barn too so that they can start forming friendships with the other lambs. I do take the lambs out in the morning and bring them back up to the house because the other ewes will headbutt the bottle babies away from them, and I really don't want anyone getting hurt. Once all the lambs are older and the ewes are a bit tired of their own babies constantly bugging them, and so they're less protective and possessive, I think it will be fine to leave the bottle babies with everyone, but in the meantime, the ewes are still pretty protective and grumpy towards any lambs but their own because their own babies are so little and they're good mamas. So at this point, that's basically our schedule with the bottle babies. Put them up at night with the rest of the lambs, then bring them back during the day for bottles and playtime with Nat. They do like to take naps, so I put them in the crate or in a jug on the porch while Nat naps, just so that I get a break to breathe. We'll follow this routine until we wean the other lambs, and then Wendell and Daisy will go in with them, but that won't be for about 2 or 3 months yet. Meow. Hey, come on. Woohoo! Thanks for joining us while we share how we are caring for bottle babies, and let me know in the comments what else you'd like to know about them.